Welcome to SoulScripture. There's a reason your sleep patterns have changed, a reason why certain people suddenly feel foreign, even though they've been in your life for years. A reason why you're feeling out of place in rooms you used to feel comfortable in. Chosen one, you are not losing your mind. You are shifting dimensions. And your vibration just did something radical. It unlocked a destiny that was hidden from you until now. You've just stepped into a new spiritual timeline, one your soul always knew was coming, but your mind could never fully prepare for. And if you stay with me until the end of this message, you'll understand exactly why everything feels different, why your energy is triggering strange reactions, and what this new vibration is calling you into. This is not just a season shift, it's a divine activation. By the end, you'll have confirmation that what you're going through is sacred and more real than anything you've seen with your eyes. See, most people are anchored in illusions. They operate on autopilot, guided by programming, not presence. But you, chosen one, you've always felt the static between this world and something more. You've sensed it, how time bends around certain moments, how energy speaks louder than words, how silence holds more truth than noise. That sensitivity is not a flaw, it's a sign. You were born to feel what others ignore. And right now, your soul is responding to a frequency only the anointed can hear. It's subtle but undeniable, like the pull of a tide just before the wave hits. You may not see it yet, but something within you already knows. The shift is here. Let me tell you something important. Your destiny is not something you chase. It's something you remember. The moment your vibration reaches a certain frequency, it's like a lock opening. Suddenly, what was blocked becomes fluid. What was hidden reveals itself, and that's what's happening to you now. But that kind of unlocking doesn't come without disruption. Everything around you, your habits, your routines, your relationships is now being evaluated by your energy. It's as if your frequency has become a spotlight, showing you exactly what cannot continue with you into the next level. That's why people are falling away without explanation. That's why your job, your city, even your favorite music might feel off. You've just entered a divine recalibration. It's not comfortable, because growth rarely is. When a tree breaks through the seed, the shell doesn't politely step aside, it cracks. And sometimes, chosen one, it feels like your entire life is cracking. But don't mistake breaking for destruction. In the spiritual realm, it's always a sign of expansion. Let's be honest, you've always been different, sensitive in ways that made others uncomfortable, deep in a world that rewards surface. And for a long time, that difference made you question yourself. Why am I always the one who feels too much? Why do I sense things before they happen? Why can't I just be normal? But now you're starting to see. It was never about fitting in. It was about being tuned in. Your gifts were never designed to blend in with the world, they were designed to transform it. So here you are, standing at the threshold of your next level, and everything inside of you knows you can't go back. You've outgrown too much. You've seen too much. You've felt too much. This shift has already changed you, even if you don't have the words for it yet. Here's the truth most won't tell you. Not everyone will be happy about your elevation, because your light, now intensified, will start to illuminate their shadows. Your calm will agitate their chaos. Your clarity will expose their confusion. And that's why some people will begin to distance themselves, not because you've done something wrong, but because you've become a mirror they can't stand to look into. But chosen one, do not dim your light for those who prefer the dark. You didn't come here to maintain the old system. You came here to disrupt it. And this shift you're experiencing, it's not random. It's not a coincidence. It's confirmation. You are being repositioned by the divine, strategically, precisely, powerfully. And though it may feel like you're losing your balance, what's actually happening is that your roots are being pulled from shallow soil and replanted into sacred ground. But here's where it gets real. This shift isn't only about what you're stepping out of, it's about what you're stepping into. You're being drawn toward people, places, and opportunities that match your soul's vibration, not your past. That's why things you used to tolerate now feel unbearable, why small talk feels hollow, why your spirit craves silence, depth, and truth, because you're not who you used to be. And the timeline you're on now, it's accelerated. The veil between dimensions has thinned for you. Time feels strange. Synchronicities are increasing. You're being reminded gently, but firmly that you are not just a body. You are a frequency, and that frequency has now aligned with a path that was reserved for your highest version. So yes, chosen one, the shift is real. And no, you're not crazy. You've just been called higher. And if you think this is intense now, wait until you see what happens when your new energy starts interacting with the old systems around you. When your vibration shifts, your world doesn't stay the same, and it's not supposed to. You might be wondering why everything suddenly feels strange, why your surroundings no longer offer the comfort they once did, why people you've known for years suddenly feel unfamiliar, why you walk into a room and sense energy before you even hear a voice. This, chosen one, is not imagination. It's the consequence of spiritual elevation. See, when your spirit aligns with a higher frequency, reality starts to warp around you, and not in a sci-fi movie way, in a deeply spiritual, unmistakably real way. Your perception sharpens, your discernment heightens. You start seeing the spiritual architecture beneath everything. The patterns, the distortions, the truths others pretend not to see. And it can be disorienting, because what once felt normal now feels foreign. But that's because you're no longer viewing life through the same lens. You've upgraded your soul's software, and the old code just doesn't compute anymore. This is why relationships start to shift. You might notice longtime friends pulling away, or conversations suddenly becoming awkward or shallow. It's not because you've become arrogant or aloof. It's because your energy is no longer compatible with theirs. Imagine you've tuned into a new radio station, but they're still trying to play the static from the one you just left. There's nothing wrong with either of you. It's just that you're not aligned anymore. And it's not just people. Technology begins to glitch more around you. Lights flicker, electronics freeze or act up in your presence. You find yourself waking up at divine hours 3:33 a.m. for 44 a.m. with a sudden clarity or a heavy presence pressing against your chest. That's not insomnia. That's a spiritual visitation. Your soul is being activated, calibrated, prepared. The world around you hasn't changed. You have. And here's what they won't tell you. Your nervous system is catching up. When your vibration ascends, your physical body feels it. You might feel exhaustion without explanation, waves of sadness that seem to appear out of nowhere, or surges of energy that make you feel like you're vibrating from the inside out. These are not symptoms to fear. They are confirmations that your soul is in motion. But here's where it gets even deeper. The people around you, they can feel it too, even if they can't explain it. Your presence becomes a signal, an energetic announcement, a quiet trumpet in the spirit realm that says, something sacred walks here. That's why some people become defensive around you. They don't know why they're uncomfortable. but they feel exposed in your presence. They sense the shift but don't have the language for it. And when people can't explain what they feel, they often project what they fear. So don't be surprised when others try to label your evolution as distance or pride. You're not becoming distant. You're becoming divine. You are being tuned to hear new instructions, and the noise of the familiar must fade for you to hear them. It's a lonely process, but not a punishment. You are being moved out of the crowd and into alignment with your calling. And trust this, isolation often precedes revelation. Even your desires are changing. What you used to chase now seems pointless. What you once feared no longer holds power over you. The things you used to beg for, you now bless from a distance, because when you begin to operate in your divine vibration, you stop striving and start attracting. This new energy doesn't beg. It doesn't compete. It commands. You're not seeking validation. You're embodying truth. And truth doesn't scream to be heard. It simply stands, and everything false eventually falls away. Let's take a moment to reflect on a story that mirrors your current path. Think about Moses. Before he ever led anyone, he was exiled, isolated, misunderstood, taken from the palace into the wilderness. Why? Because his frequency no longer matched the system he was born into. He didn't just walk away from Egypt. He was spiritually extracted. And it was in the wilderness, where he had nothing to prove, no audience to impress, that he encountered the burning bush, divine fire, divine voice, divine assignment. Your strangeness right now is a sign that you, too, are nearing a burning bush moment. The shift you're in is preparing you for a divine encounter that will change the trajectory of your life. But just like Moses, you must first unlearn the ways of the palace, the performance, the pressure, the noise, because your next level can't be accessed by your old identity. So if you feel confused, good. It means your logic is loosening its grip. And in that space, Spirit can finally speak. Let it speak. Let it tell you who you really are. You don't need another affirmation from the world. You need alignment with the divine. And this strange season you're in, it's alignment in disguise. You are being pulled away, not because you're unwanted, but because you're unmatched. Unmatched in frequency, unmatched in purpose, unmatched in calling, and unmatched spirits cannot be housed in ordinary places. So breathe, relax your shoulders. Stop trying to explain what can't be explained. Not everyone will understand the shift you're in, and they're not supposed to. This part of the path is not meant for many. It's meant for the remnant, for the anointed, for you. Because your vibration didn't just rise, it rippled. Through timelines, through dimensions, through generations. And the reason everything feels strange now is because you're no longer walking through time. You're bending it. You're ahead of the curve, chosen one. And the world is trying to catch up to what your soul already knows. There's something powerful happening beneath the surface of your interactions. Chosen one, you might not be speaking much, but your presence is saying everything. You've noticed it, how people shift when you walk into a room, how the atmosphere thickens or tightens when you simply exist. Some smile with admiration, others flinch, withdraw, or even lash out with subtle jabs and strange tension. And you're left wondering, what did I do? I didn't say a word. But that's just it. You didn't have to. Your energy is doing the speaking now. And that energy is disrupting every lower frequency around you. Let's make it clear. You're not responsible for how others react to your growth. When you elevate, you become a spiritual disturbance to anything not rooted in truth. You become a walking contradiction to the lies people have built their comfort around. Your clarity exposes confusion. Your peace agitates chaos. And your authenticity challenges the masks others have carefully curated. You didn't ask for this confrontation, but your frequency did. Because energy is truth, it cannot lie. And your vibration, now recalibrated, naturally rejects what's false. That's why you're starting to feel allergic to drama, emotionally drained by small talk, or physically uneasy in certain environments. It's not in your head, it's in your spirit. You're not just growing, you're glowing. And that glow, it's not always welcomed. Remember, when light enters a dark room, the room doesn't applaud, it flinches. Darkness doesn't celebrate exposure, it resists it. And that resistance, that's what you're experiencing now. People you once felt safe around are starting to act strange. Coworkers seem on edge. Family members throw shade disguised as concern. Friends begin to compete subtly or question your change. But none of this is really about you. It's about what you've activated in them. When your spirit elevates, it shines a spotlight on everything that's stagnant around you. And not everyone is ready for that kind of visibility. Let me give you a biblical reflection. Think of Joseph. He had dreams that made his brothers uncomfortable, not because he was arrogant, but because his vision revealed their own spiritual inertia. His very existence threatened the systems they depended on, so they plotted against him, not because of what he did, but because of who he was destined to become. Sound familiar? Chosen one. Some people are not reacting to you. They're reacting to their own inadequacy. Your presence is reminding them of everything they've suppressed, everything they've ignored, everything they're not willing to confront. And rather than evolve with you, they resist you, because it's easier to project than to transform. But don't take it personally. Take it prophetically. Their resistance is confirmation of your recalibration. You're shifting into a frequency that forces clarity. And clarity, while liberating, is also uncomfortable for you and everyone around you. But don't dim your light to ease their discomfort. Don't downplay your calling to maintain familiarity. This isn't about keeping the peace. It's about walking in power. And here's the truth most won't tell you. The more aligned you become, the more enemies you attract. But not in the way you think. These aren't enemies with swords and threats. These are energetic oppositions, people who used to cheer for you, now offering passive-aggressive comments, environments that used to nurture you, now feeling restrictive, opportunities that seemed perfect, suddenly falling through without explanation. It's not rejection, it's refinement. Spirit is showing you what can no longer coexist with your new vibration. And sometimes that clarity comes with conflict. But let the conflict teach you. Let it show you who's aligned with your destiny and who's only comfortable with your former version. Because not everyone who started with you can walk into this next chapter. Some relationships were assignments, temporary, seasonal. They served a purpose. But your evolution demands new partnerships, people who see your soul, not just your potential, people who celebrate your calling, not compete with it. And the tension you're feeling now, it's the separation before the elevation. Let it happen. Don't chase what's falling away. Don't beg to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding you. Your energy will do what words never could. It will reveal who's real and who's only around for the old version of you. This shift has made you magnetic. But magnetism doesn't just attract, it repels. It polarizes. And that's part of the purification. Some are drawn to your light because they recognize their own. Others are repelled by it because it exposes their darkness. You don't get to control who's who, but you do get to discern. And that discernment, it's one of the sharpest gifts Spirit is activating in you right now. Your body knows before your mind can explain. Trust that unease. That tightness in your chest, that inexplicable fatigue after spending time with certain people, these are spiritual messages, encoded in sensation. Don't dismiss them. Chosen one, you are not being dramatic. You are being divine. You're operating on a higher channel now. And not everyone has the signal. You've upgraded your system, and outdated programs will crash in your presence. Let them crash. Let whatever isn't compatible with your elevation exit quietly. Because what's ahead of you requires space, and spirit never subtracts without the intention to multiply. So if you're being met with resistance, don't retreat. Rejoice. You're getting closer. Your vibration is working. It's protecting you from false alignments, clearing your field, preparing the way. You are not being attacked because you're weak. You're being targeted because you're effective. You are a disruption to the old, a threat to deception, a trigger to every spirit that hoped you'd stay small. But your expansion is non-negotiable. You've already unlocked the next level. Now let the fallout clear what cannot come with you. And remember, your silence isn't empty. It's sacred. Your energy is the message. The solitude is getting louder. Isn't it? People you once shared everything with now feel like strangers. The phone doesn't ring like it used to. The invitations stopped coming. And when you walk into certain rooms, you sense something's shifted, but no one says a word. It's like you've become invisible, yet simultaneously under divine surveillance. You're not imagining this. Chosen one, you're not being paranoid. You're being set apart. This isolation isn't punishment. It's preparation. When a soul is marked for a higher calling, heaven has to remove the distractions that distort its sound. And right now, you're in the process of hearing yourself clearly, perhaps, for the first time in your life. That echo you feel, that stillness that surrounds you, it's not emptiness, it's sacred space. Space being cleared so divine downloads can take root. You're not being abandoned. You're being invited into revelation. There's a reason the prophets in Scripture were always drawn into the wilderness. A reason why Jesus himself withdrew to solitary places, even at the height of his miracles. Because solitude is where alignment becomes unshakable. In the noise, you question your identity. In the quiet, you remember it. And chosen one, your remembrance is the key to everything. You see, the world trains us to forget, to adapt, to please, to shrink. But the Spirit calls us back to truth, back to the original blueprint of who we were before the world told us what to be. And that calling doesn't speak through chaos. It whispers in stillness. That's why the solitude hits you differently now, because it's no longer about being left out. It's about being called in. You may not recognize it yet, but you're in the presence of a divine upgrade. The isolation you're experiencing is not random. It's surgical, strategic, spirit-led. You're being separated so you can be synchronized with your next spiritual assignment. And like any great masterpiece, your canvas must be cleared before the painting begins. But let's be honest, it's painful. It's lonely. The silence can be deafening. You wonder if you're crazy, or if you've done something wrong. You haven't. You've just outgrown the structures that once held you. And Spirit is not in the business of letting chosen ones stay confined in cages. No matter how comfortable they may seem, you're being upgraded in isolation because elevation always requires separation before activation. Think about the eagle. When it senses a storm, it doesn't seek shelter like other birds. It rises above the clouds. It finds higher wind currents and uses the pressure of the storm to soar. That's what's happening to you now. You're not being left behind. You're being lifted. And only those with spiritual wings can go where you're headed. But wings require space to stretch. And that space often feels like loss. You're losing what's not meant to last so that you can carry what's eternal. Let me bring you back to Scripture. Elijah, the prophet, after calling down fire from heaven, he still found himself alone in a cave, fearing for his life. But it was in that cave, in the stillness, that God's voice came, not in the wind, not in the earthquake, not in the fire, but in a gentle whisper. It was in solitude that Elijah received clarity, comfort, and new instructions. So what if your cave season isn't a curse? What if it's a cocoon? Butterflies don't transform in the crowd. They dissolve in darkness, in silence, in stillness. They let go of everything they were in order to become what they were always destined to be. And the same Spirit that designed that process is now overseeing yours. You are not stuck. You are shifting. And this solitude, it's not void, it's sacred volume. It's tuning your ears to higher instructions. It's softening your heart to divine timing. It's sharpening your vision for what's coming next. Because what's next will require a version of you that's not diluted by noise or distracted by approval. This is the season where you learn to rely solely on the Spirit. No applause, no cosigns, no validation. Just you and the divine, co-creating, refining, preparing, and the transformation happening in private will soon make sense in public. But don't rush it. Don't fight the solitude. Befriend it. Let it teach you what the crowd never could. Let it show you your worth apart from your performance. Let it anchor you in truth instead of opinion. Because when you emerge from this, you won't just know your calling, you'll embody it. Chosen one, you were never meant to be common. You were meant to be consecrated. And consecration requires time away, time hidden, time tucked away from eyes that can't yet see the treasure you carry. So while the world scrolls, shouts, and scrambles, you're being still, you're being refined, you're being entrusted with insight most will never comprehend. And yes, it hurts. But pain is the passageway to power. You are not just healing. You are hardening into something unbreakable. You are not just waiting. You are being woven into divine timing. The silence is not absence, it's architecture. And your next move, it's being carved in secret. With precision, don't despise this season. One day soon, you'll look back and realize this was where the real you was born. You've been told it was rejection. You were made to feel like something was wrong with you. That the people walking away, the doors slamming shut, the opportunities slipping through your fingers, all of it meant you were unwanted, unqualified, or somehow falling short. But chosen one, what the world calls rejection, heaven calls repositioning. The things falling apart were never meant to hold your next level. You're not being cast aside. You're being redirected. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. Spirit is rerouting you toward what is sacred, not what is safe. And if that requires tearing down every false structure around you, then let it fall. Because what you're building now is eternal. It's foundational. And it starts with releasing every counterfeit connection, every misaligned opportunity, every comfort zone that has disguised itself as loyalty. This shift in your vibration has made it impossible to stay in the same places. That job you once tolerated now drains you. That relationship that used to give you butterflies now feels like chains. That friend group you used to laugh with now talks in circles you can't sit in anymore. It's not that you're becoming cold, it's that you're becoming clear. And clarity is a spiritual superpower. It doesn't just show you who's for you, it reveals who's not for your calling. And that's where the divine steps in, not to destroy, but to deliver you from anything that cannot sustain your next dimension. And sometimes Deliverance looks like disconnection. Let me tell you something sacred. Your discomfort is divine. You are not misaligned. You're being aligned. And alignment often requires exit before entrance. Think about Abraham. God told him, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you." No map, no guarantee, just a promise and a prompting. And that's what you're feeling now, that pull to leave the familiar, even if it's terrifying, that inner knowing that something greater is ahead, even if you don't yet have language for it. But make no mistake, stepping into destiny will always feel like rejection to those who were never meant to go with you. That's why some people can no longer look you in the eye, why conversations feel forced, why your presence makes others defensive. Your evolution reminds them of their stagnation, and instead of rising with you, they resent you. But chosen one, don't apologize for your anointing. You were never called to maintain mediocrity. You were called to disrupt it, and every door that closed was Spirit saying, "Not here, not this, not anymore." Because what's coming won't require you to shrink, beg, or pretend. It will require truth, boldness, discernment, peace that passes understanding. And here's where the shift gets even more real. Your vibration is magnetizing divine placement. Not just places where you feel welcome, but places where you belong, where your gifts are not just tolerated, but needed, where your frequency is not just heard, but honored. And yes, that means losing access to what once felt like home. But sometimes, home becomes a cage. And the key to your freedom is the very thing they called loss. You are not losing your life. You are reclaiming it. You are not falling behind. You are falling into divine timing. The timeline you're entering is governed by Spirit, not systems. And Spirit has no interest in letting you remain in rooms that insult your essence. So let them misunderstand you. Let them call it pride. Let them call it change. Because what they see as detachment is actually discernment. You finally stopped begging to be seen and started seeing yourself. And once you see yourself, fully, clearly, spiritually, you can't unsee it. You can't pretend to be blind just to make others feel comfortable in the dark. This is your liberation moment. This is the divine permission to release every expired connection, every old pattern, every inner vow that said, "I'll settle just to feel loved." No more. You've crossed a threshold, and what's on the other side of this shift is holy ground. But you must walk barefoot, stripped of ego, free from false attachments, honest with your heart, and willing to go alone if necessary. Because the path of the chosen one isn't crowded. It's carved in silence, lined with obedience, guided by a voice most can't hear. But you hear it, don't you? Even now, there's a fire burning inside you. A quiet confirmation that you're not crazy, you're called. That this shift wasn't an accident, it was activation. That the no was actually protection. That the closed doors were divine detours. That the delay was strategic. And when it feels like everything familiar is being stripped away, that's when Spirit is closest, whispering, "Trust me, I'm making room." So let it fall away, chosen one. Let the doors close. Let the misunderstandings happen. Let the silence surround you. Because what's next won't require performance. It will require presence. And your presence, when fully aligned, is more powerful than anything you could force. This is not the end. It's the real beginning. You are not being rejected. You are being repositioned for royalty. Everything feels like it's falling apart, doesn't it? Your plans are unraveling. The things you thought were secure are shaking. Relationships are breaking. Opportunities are slipping through your hands like sand. And you're doing your best to hold on, to stay faithful, to keep your head above the emotional waves, but it's getting harder. You're wondering if this is spiritual warfare, or if maybe you missed something. But chosen one, hear this truth clearly. This is not your destruction. This is your confirmation. It's confirmation that the shift has occurred, that you've crossed over into a new timeline, that the vibration of your soul has outgrown the container of your old life. And when that happens, when your frequency evolves faster than your surroundings, things don't just change. They crash. Let it all collapse. Because what looks like chaos is actually construction. God is not punishing you. He's reformatting everything to make room for what's aligned. Your old life cannot hold your new light. The version of you that survived before cannot sustain what you've just stepped into. You're not being ruined, you're being rebuilt. And yes, the process is messy. Yes, it's confusing. Yes, it's exhausting. But chosen one, you've been chosen for this exact moment, not just to witness it, but to withstand it. To walk through the fire and not be consumed. To experience the breaking and still keep your faith intact. Because faith isn't proven in the blessing, it's proven in the breaking. Let's go deeper. Every major turning point in the lives of the anointed has always been preceded by collapse. Before David ascended to the throne, he was hunted, betrayed, hiding in caves. Before Joseph ruled Egypt, he was sold, imprisoned, forgotten. Before Jesus resurrected, he was buried. The pattern hasn't changed. It's the breaking before the becoming. So the chaos you feel right now, the disorientation, that's not failure. That's the divine blueprint unfolding in real time. And even though you can't see the full picture yet, your spirit knows this isn't random. This isn't coincidence. This is sacred shaking. Heaven is allowing everything unstable to come undone so you don't build your destiny on false foundations. Sometimes, God loves you too much to let your comfort destroy your calling. That's why He lets things crumble. That's why what once worked no longer satisfies. That's why the people you were loyal to can no longer recognize you. Because their vision is tied to who you were, not who you're becoming. And who you're becoming is dangerous to the status quo. You're not ordinary. You never were. Your existence alone disrupts patterns, shifts atmospheres, and awakens truth in others, even if they fight it. And now, that disruptive anointing is getting louder, sharper, clearer. You've shifted, and Spirit is adjusting everything around you to match. It's like a spiritual earthquake. What's not anchored is being exposed. What's not real is falling away. What's not aligned is being shaken loose. But hear this, what remains after the shaking is sacred. What stays, what still stands after the storm. That is what you build on. That's what you invest in. That's what you trust. So don't be afraid of what's leaving. Don't grieve what's being pruned. What feels like a loss now is actually leverage. God is using the collapse to accelerate your climb. You're not falling apart. You're being restructured. Let me give you a vision for what's coming. There is a version of you on the other side of this chaos that walks in supernatural clarity, who hears the voice of Spirit without confusion, who no longer begs to be chosen because they remembered they were already anointed. That version of you is not a fantasy. It's real. It's near. It's waiting. And every test you're facing right now, it's not to destroy you. It's to strip you of pride, of old identity, of dependency on people who were never meant to carry your mantle. You're being refined by fire. But fire doesn't destroy gold. It purifies it. And you, chosen one, are gold in the hands of God. So let the winds blow. Let the tower fall. Let the confusion swirl. Spirit is in the midst of it all. building something unshakable within you. You're being prepared for visibility, for authority, for alignment with destiny on a level that will not allow contamination from your past season. This is why it hurts, because the glory is heavy, and only those with strengthened souls can carry it without cracking. You are being made ready. So when everything feels like it's breaking, remember this truth. This is confirmation, not catastrophe. This is design, not disaster. This is the divine deconstructing what no longer serves your highest calling. Because what's coming is not just restoration, it's reinvention. You are not being reset back to factory settings. You are being recalibrated to heavenly coordinates. And when the dust settles, you'll see it clearly. None of this was falling apart. It was all falling into place. You've been sensing it, haven't you? That strange yet undeniable shift in your body. Your awareness, your very atmosphere. The chills that come for no reason. The moments of deep peace, followed by waves of emotion. The numbers, the patterns, the sudden knowing. Chosen one, your vibration has officially unlocked a new frequency. And now everything around you is responding. This isn't imagination. This is initiation. You've moved from belief into embodiment. You're no longer thinking about spiritual alignment. You're living it. Your frequency is no longer searching for permission to rise. It's commanding alignment. And now, the world is showing you who and what can walk with you into this new realm. That's why things feel surreal right now. Time seems different. Days pass quickly or feel elongated. You're waking up at random hours with intense downloads or spiritual urgency. You walk past someone and feel their energy before they speak. You know things without knowing how you know. This is what it means to live beyond the veil. You have not just changed, you've been activated. And with this activation comes responsibility. You're now operating on a higher frequency, one that doesn't just impact your inner world, but reshapes your outer one. Your thoughts manifest quicker. Your boundaries grow sharper. Your discernment becomes instantaneous. Because spirit is no longer whispering, you're hearing clearly now. This is why you're craving silence more than ever. Why your appetite for certain foods, people, conversations is changing. You've crossed a threshold, and your body is recalibrating to your spirit's new command. But let's get even deeper. Your new frequency isn't just affecting you. It's summoning what was hidden. The next phase of your destiny is now aware of you. The people, opportunities, resources, and revelations that were locked behind spiritual doors are now being drawn to your signal. Because vibration is a key, and you've finally reached the frequency that matches what your soul was born to experience. This is why you had to go through everything you did. The rejection, the isolation, the confusion, all of it prepared you for this moment. You couldn't have held this level of energy a year ago. You didn't have the spiritual muscle to sustain it. But now you're ready. You're not guessing anymore. You're knowing. That inner compass is now magnetic. You feel when something's off before you can explain it. You sense alignment like a tuning fork. You don't argue about energy, you read it. Shift it or leave it. You're not who you used to be, and people feel it. Some admire it, some fear it, but all of them know, whether consciously or not, that something about you has changed. Because energy doesn't lie. And your energy is now speaking for you in rooms your words haven't reached yet. You are no longer walking in delay. You're walking in divine acceleration. Think about how Jesus, after his 40 days in the wilderness, returned in power, not just with wisdom or insight, but power. Something had shifted, and that shift attracted the mission, the miracles, the movement. That's you now. Your wilderness season has produced power, power to discern, power to walk away, power to create, power to speak and shift environments, power to bless and to break strongholds. But be clear, this new frequency also comes with new friction, because now, anything that is false will immediately feel heavy in your presence. Your body may reject conversations mid-sentence. You may feel physically sick in certain environments, not because you're fragile, but because your energy field now detects distortion with high sensitivity. You're no longer tolerating what you used to excuse. Your spirit is allergic to spiritual laziness, to manipulation, to half-truths, and even more, to your own patterns of self-sabotage. That's the shift, not just seeing through others, but seeing through yourself. And when you see it, you choose different, not from fear, not from guilt, but from clarity, because you're no longer operating from survival. You're operating from alignment. That's why boundaries are no longer debates. They're non-negotiable, because your new vibration requires spiritual hygiene. You're too sacred to be accessible to everyone, too elevated to entertain confusion, too aligned to explain your every move. This is the gift of the shift, effortless clarity. But don't get it twisted. This isn't arrogance. It's awareness. You're not walking in ego. You're walking in energy. You're not isolating yourself from others. You're insulating your anointing. Because not everyone deserves access to this version of you. Not everyone was built to stand in this kind of light. And you've finally made peace with that. Chosen one, what's happening to you right now is holy. Don't second guess it. Don't apologize for it. Don't try to make it palatable. You are becoming the frequency your ancestors prayed for, the vibration your bloodline cried out for, the energy that breaks curses just by walking into the room. So don't shrink, don't explain. Embody. You're here now, fully, unapologetically, energized by the divine. And what's next? What's next can only be accessed by those who are willing to walk in this frequency with boldness. You've unlocked it. Now it's time to live it. So here you are, chosen one, standing in a life that no longer fits the way it used to. The old patterns, they don't stick. The old labels, they fall off. The old roads, they no longer lead anywhere. Because you've shifted for real. This isn't just a change in perspective. This is a total dimensional upgrade. You've stepped into a new timeline, and everything about you reflects it. You don't react the same. You don't seek the same. You don't need the same. Your desires have changed because your design has revealed itself. What you're craving now isn't status. It's substance. You no longer care about being seen by the world. You care about being aligned with heaven. That's the difference between those who want the path and those who were born for it. You don't need to be hyped up to keep going. You move by divine instinct now. You know what's real. You've shifted from hoping for change to being the change. And this new timeline you've entered, it isn't temporary. It's eternal. You've recalibrated your frequency to match your original soul assignment. That means your steps are no longer random. Your encounters are no longer accidental. Your decisions are no longer reactive. Everything has intention now because you're walking as one who knows who they are. And that knowing is power. But don't expect the world to applaud your transformation. This timeline is not built for comfort. It's built for clarity, for consecration, for movement with precision. And that's exactly why Spirit had to isolate you, so you wouldn't compromise your knowing to appease people who still live in confusion. You're no longer part of the crowd. You're part of the remnant. The ones who heard the call and responded with obedience. The ones who let the collapse happen. The ones who chose silence over noise, truth over trend, purpose over popularity. And now, you are evidence. You walk differently. You speak differently. You vibrate differently. People can't explain it, but they feel it. You're not just carrying light. You are light. And where you walk, darkness must adjust. Frequencies must rise. Chains must break. This is what it means to live in alignment. To stop living on delay. To move with heaven's timing. You're no longer being pushed by pain. You're being pulled by purpose. And the beauty is, you no longer need to force a thing, because what is for you flows to you. You attract confirmation daily. You see signs before decisions. You hear instructions without needing validation. Why? Because you're not waiting to be anointed. You've remembered that you already are. So now, chosen one, the mission becomes clear. Maintain the frequency, not through performance, but through presence, through boundaries, through discernment, through choosing peace when chaos tries to bait you, through walking away when the energy no longer serves your evolution, because you can't afford to regress. Not now, not after everything you've shed. This version of you is not built on survival. It's built on revelation. You've gone through too much to stay silent. You've healed too much to tolerate nonsense. You've seen too much to go back. You've become what others only talk about. You are the message now. So live in this timeline boldly. Trust your instincts. Listen to your spirit. Keep the circle tight, the boundaries clear, and your mind sober. Heaven trusts you with what's next. That's why the shift happened for you and not for everyone. Because you're not everyone. You're chosen. And now that you're living in the frequency you were born for, nothing and no one can take it from you. Slow down. Breathe deeply. Let this settle in your spirit. You are not who you used to be, and you never will be again. You've shifted into something sacred, and all of heaven rejoices not just because you arrived, but because you endured. They didn't see the nights you cried alone, the confusion, the questions, the quiet spiritual battles, but God did, and He never left, not once. You were never abandoned. You were being anointed in the dark, and now the oil is showing. It glows in your eyes. It flows in your voice. It resonates in your presence. You don't have to explain it. You are it. This next chapter of your life is going to require peace like armor, love like fire, wisdom like a sword. You will walk into rooms and shift the energy without saying a word. You'll touch lives simply by standing in your truth. This is your reward. This is your release. Not because you're perfect, but because you were obedient. You didn't run. You didn't fold. You rose. And now, the blessings you forgot you prayed for are being aligned. The doors you thought were shut forever are being reopened on new terms. Let your soul relax. You're not behind. You're right on time. You're not alone. You're divinely guided. Chosen one, welcome home. God bless you. And if this resonated with your soul, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Speak it. Let others rise with you. Because the shift that changed your life is only the beginning